All right, we're live.
Are we live? We skipped the intro thingy. We didn't have the little.
Yeah, it's live. We skipped the
oh,
intro.
oh, sweet. All right, we're getting straight to it, folks. Welcome back to Political Pulse Live. Bill is back, hot off the campaign trails. Man, look at that smile. That means that things are going great, right, Bill?
Yeah, that's right. It's going great.
Politics, man, gotta love it. Listen, man, I'm so glad we're doing this show because we get to really educate people from this side of politics. Like it gets real once you get this side. This makes you so um, you just want to be more educated on politics. It's a whole different ball game on this side.
Yeah, you learn a lot of things that you never thought you'd even know. Well, you don't really even want to know, right? You go with the TV says, but then you really find out what's going on behind the scenes. It's
Yeah,
it's uh, it's a
it
different
makes you
world.
want to vote. That's what it makes you realize how important voting is and how much power you have as the voter and how much you probably should vote. That's one, but how much you should also know who you're voting for. Just don't like waste a vote.
Yeah, what happens is, from my point of view, is you start understanding the political theater much better,
Okay.
and the posturing, and you watch Fox, I watch both, right? Because I want to get perspectives for both because I get asked questions in the field, right?
Right.
And you know, on both sides of the fence, it's a lot of BS. And then you got it's like when somebody tells you there's three sides to a story, and then you
Yeah.
got the truth in the middle.
Yeah.
Politics is no different, right?
Right. Right.
So it's fun, right? I mean, you've been out there,
Yeah.
you talk to people when you were running. It's fun. You get a lot of really cool people that you meet, and you get a lot of the older people I really enjoy because the ones that went through the war, came
Yep.
up through America first times, right? Proud Americans. And then you get the younger kids that, haven't lived through the proud American stage of life and they're living in this
Right.
world, which is a different, set of lenses and they see everything differently, right?
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, they're more the handout kids and, they love all this,
If I've learned one
they
thing
seem
about
to
it,
like socialism a little better because they're given more. They think, right?
well, I mean, when you, like you just said, it, you call it the handout generation. It's like, and I don't mean that to kind of say these generations have just been living off handouts, but you've been handed a free country. Like,
Yeah.
how much fighting did you have to do to earn this country to understand the value of freedom? To just say, hey, let's just start handing out freedom left and right,
Yeah.
or free stuff left and right, or it's freedom isn't free.
No,
It
it's not.
costs.
And
It, go ahead.
it's fun. I was yesterday. I was playing tennis last night, right? Just to
Uh,
try to unwind a little bit from campaigning.
okay.
And when I got done playing, there was a lady there that was playing doubles on another court, and she was sitting down, and she was talking to the people I was with because I guess they knew each other right from some time. And
Right.
she's from Sweden,
Okay.
and she can't wait to vote in this election, right? Because she wants a Republican vote because people don't understand. Like they think that healthcare in those countries is free. They think all these things are free. And what she was telling me is, she was taking healthcare for an example because she just went through something with her father.
Right.
Once you get to a certain age, there is no more healthcare. They want you to die,
Right. Right.
right? They literally, that's it. You're done. You're off their spectrum. We treat the
Right.
young people because we got to keep the young people alive.
Yeah.
Um,
They need to pay taxes.
right.
Right.
Free education. They talk about, it's you get free education with socialism and all this other stuff. Well, that's only for like 4% of the population, and
Right.
that's all handpicked by grades and
Mhm.
social status,
Right.
right? So the rest of the kids don't go. So it's very skewed what we hear here, right? And what everybody thinks is real compared to what it's like to live in one of those countries. And
Right.
that's something that when people are hearing perspective, but they don't hear it from the people that live in those countries,
Right.
they're not really hearing the truth because obviously media is all BS,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's just fluff. They sell stories, is what they do. Like people
Listen.
sell cars, they sell
Yeah.
stories.
Sell stories. Matter of fact, story was kind of like when you say to sell car. Like when the new model comes out, the old model goes away. It's
Yeah.
like the news stories come out and like you don't hear about a whole bunch of other things. I'm not gonna say those things, but we could all just use our imagination. There's a lot of things we don't hear about on the news. So again, like to your point, the media doesn't share the reality of what these people are experiencing in these countries,
No,
especially world media. So
no, and that's why when you see when people come here from other countries and then they get legal the right
right,
way, right, and they appreciate freedom,
correct,
right, and that's why they tend to vote a certain way, and they don't want the other way, and they see this country going the wrong way, and they get scared because
right,
they've already lived it, and
correct,
our kids have never lived it. This is what they know, right? So
correct.
it's not scary to them like it is to people that have lived in these
Exactly.
countries.
Yeah, exactly. The end result isn't the same because again, experience. It's the same thing I tell my kids. You're a parent. You know the thing. You tell your kids something, they're like, "Why?" Because well, I know. Well, how do you know? I experienced it, and I don't want you to experience it. So a lot of times I tell my kids, you know what? Some things I'm just gonna let you figure out on your own because I think that's the best teacher is just experience.
You
Because
know
I can
why?
tell you not
Because
to
they
do
look
it,
at
but
us like we're old. They forget that
yeah,
we were them at one age and we went through all this and we tried to do all these things and it didn't work or tried
yeah,
to
the
get
same
away
thing
with
applies
something.
to politics. Same thing
Yeah.
applies, and again, these people that live in these environments and these governments, they've had the experience, and they're telling you. Like I love it when I watch somebody speaking on YouTube or from another country on socialism, or somebody that's from a socialist country living here in America, speaking on it so passionately. Like, no, why are you voting for these types of things? I'm telling you, from experience, bad idea.
Yep.
We all voted for it. We all thought it was a good idea. It looked good on paper. It looked good and sounded good in the speech. But in theory and practice, and it is not good. Will not end well. Don't do it. And we're like, let's give it a shot. So it's like, why not?
Yep.
It's like literally like dealing with kids. It's like, let me find out for myself. Okay,
Yeah.
well, not at my expense.
Yeah.
Not at
That's
my
right.
expense. And like, thank God, some of us old folks. I mean, I say old. I got a few grays, but I don't think I'm that old.
I'm sure I
We're
got
still
you by a
around.
few years. Yeah.
But I'm glad that there's still some residue or of that left of that time. Those remnants of those people that have that experience to say, listen, vote differently. I'm glad we live in the state of Florida where we've got enough old people that are probably going to vote in a safe way. But in other places, it's not the same, or in other parts of, if you dissect Florida by counties, um, not every county is going to have that same experience. By the way, real quick, we're one person shy the last few weeks. This week it's Lynn Sue. She's on a cruise enjoying herself. But again, Lynn and I have had these conversations while you were hitting the campaign trail pretty hard. She's
Yeah.
from a country where things don't just come free. So
Yeah.
she appreciates being in this country. So it's just one of those things, and especially now that we're getting close to election time, it's just really important that we pay attention to who we vote for. The right to vote's not just the opportunity to go into a booth and take a multiple choice test. It's an opportunity to really form your government. Like unlike any other place in the world, we get to choose our government and how it's run and the people who run it. And we go in there just lacking the tools or the resources or the education on really making that vote count.
So it's funny you say that because this is something that I've been thinking about lately, and this is what a message I'm trying to get out. Right.
Mhm.
So and this is just bipartisan. Okay. When people
Okay.
are going to go vote, they need to look at the candidates that they're voting for. They need to me, what they need to look at is voter guides out there that if they're already in office, if they're incumbents, you could find out how they were graded, right? As a representative, right? So they have an A
Right.
through F grading scale. Very important to look at that
Right.
because if the person that you are possibly going to vote for got a D, an F, a C, you may want to find out why. Like
Right.
that's not really a great representative,
Right.
look at their donor rolls, right? I mean, if you see representatives or candidates that have donations from grassroots, from community, then you know who owns them, the people.
Right. Right.
And they're going to work for the people, right?
Right.
If you see people that have campaign money from media, out of state, pharmaceutical companies, Disney, all this crap, you can't tell me that that person is for the people.
No, not at all.
Not even close. They're for the people that brought the money into them.
Right.
So if you don't align with all of those companies that person is being bought by, why are you voting for them? Because you know that they're not worried about you. You can feel this way, but if the pharmaceutical company says we're going to have a shutdown and we're going to mandate you get vaccinated, and we paid you to make sure that you vote this way, where are they voting? Pharmaceutical. Right. So, and then they should look at the bios of accomplishments. Now, some of our representatives that are incumbents that are in office, you know, they're attorneys or they're whatever they are, right? And but what is their accomplishments in and out of business? They should look at it and then compare that to the candidate or the other incumbent, whoever's going against each other.
Right.
And they should really draw like a pros and cons of what happens with this candidate or if I get to this candidate. And people just don't go in there educated. They go in there with, I just vote the party line.
Yeah.
Well, if you vote the party line, did the party line shut us down during the pandemic? Did they get a lot of people fired because they wouldn't take vaccines? Did they mandate you wear a mask everywhere you go, but you can take it off when you walk inside a restaurant and sit down and eat because all of a sudden the air changed, right?
Right.
But everywhere else you got to wear it. I mean, if these things don't really resonate with you as a person inside, why are you going to put those same people back in office?
Right.
Makes no sense to me. But people do it because they're stuck on the party line. You know, and there's good people on both sides of the party. There's not just because you're a Republican are you good, and not because you're a Democrat are you bad or good. There are good people on both sides of the line. But you need to see what they vote for, or if they're not in office, what they would vote for. It's, to me, the reason why we go down these bad rabbit holes when we get people in office is because people aren't looking at who they're voting for. They're just party line people right down the line.
I mean, no, I agree. Listen, that's one of the issues. And I'm in 100% agreement with you on this. Now, another one of those compounding issues is that sometimes you have two bad choices.
Yeah.
And now you only got two bad choices. There's something that we talked about last week called a write-in. People, you know, each state's different on how they do write-in laws, and that's maybe something that we should look at legislatively. How do we change it in those states to make the write-in a little bit more, you know, accessible or easier to write in? Because there's a third option here. Sometimes you're like, if you're looking at two bad options, like, listen, I know somebody, I just recommend them. You know, hopefully he gets the job because the two choices you're giving me right now are horrible. Case in point, I don't mind saying this. The school board candidates that in where I was running for seat 8, there's two candidates right now. And to be honest with you, I was running to make sure the incumbent didn't win. But after running the campaign, I also realized that the other guy running is just as bad. You know, the person that I thought, other than myself, that was actually not bad for the job was 18 years old. Unfortunately, people weren't going to really vote for him as much as they voted for the other two candidates. And we both, you know, didn't move forward in the runoffs, but now you're left with two bad choices. And the reality of it is, I wish I could write in that kid or myself or anybody else other than these two choices.
So when you have a write-in, you know, everybody if you have 1,000 people voting, 10,000 people, there could be 10,000 different names. So is there like a preferred write-in list of, I mean, like, because you would never get anybody because everybody would have a different person that they write in.
You know what, you're right, but maybe there's a preferred writing list that needs to be generated, like, you know, amongst like voters, or, you know, again, this is something that you and I spoke about, you know, after post-election, looking to see how we could improve politics. Maybe there could be that suggested write-in list, or people who, you know, they're on the sidelines and they're not a candidate, but listen, we the people think you should run.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to run. Well, we the people are going to vote you in anyway. And if once you win, you make the decision. But but you're on a suggested write-in list, and we're going to put your name on this thing right here. We're going to write you in, and if you win, it's because we the people thought so, not because some politicians who had polished it doing this went through the whole qualifying process and raised enough money to buy votes. It's again, voting is important. You and I agree with that. This is the whole reason we're doing the show, is to try and educate people on who to vote for. But when you have two bad choices, it's like, how do you make that decision? So that's something.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and let's go back a little bit and talk about what we were talking about before the show, right? Which after election, one of the things that I've learned the hard way, and this is something that it doesn't give voters a fair edge either to know who to vote for, because I'm a new candidate. Okay. So being a new candidate, I'm not a polished politician. I'm a business person. I'm a very polished business person, but I'm not a polished politician.
Right.
So, you go and you announce because you want to make change. So you announce that you're going to run me state senate, you school board. Lynn Sue was a house, right? She was running for a house.
Yep.
Okay. So we announced that we want to run because we have a passion to do something for the people. Okay.
Right.
Now we go and announce, and then what? Now you're like in a maze of what the hell do I do next to get to the next level? So you start joining clubs, you start speaking to people, you start speaking over here, there. But the problem is you're never really getting your message out. You don't know how to get your message out because nobody fine-tuned you into how to speak your message. So you work the first 4 months figuring out how to take what you want to do and make it sound right.
Right.
Then you don't know how to fundraise because you're unknown. So people that are going to give you money are usually friends, family, and maybe some business people that you've worked with on a personal level donate money to your campaign, right?
And then there's also the rules with donating too. Just throw that in there. People don't know. It's not easy to raise. There's rules in raising money.
So you can only donate $1,000 top, right? Unless you have a PAC, and then that money can be taken in hundreds of thousands or millions. Doesn't matter. Whatever they feel like donating to the PAC, and that's where your politicians are usually hanging out, right?
Right.
So you get a very good seed of people that want to run to make a difference. The general population, right, our constituents, have really no idea who we are or what we are unless they start Googling us or they read about us on our website or they want to actually meet with us. So your incumbents and your politicians have the upper edge because they already played the game, right? Like we're rookies and they're in their, third or fourth year or whatever. And so they got the system down.
Right.
The problem with that is you have very good people that really can make a difference and make a change and have a very focused vision because we are living the life that our constituents are living. Right. And the politicians are living the life the elitists are living.
Correct.
Okay. So people that really don't know that. Our voters don't know that. They just think, oh, incumbent, or I vote the party line or this. They don't have a good vision of what's going on.
Right.
Right. So after this election, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a consultant agency, and we're going to put together the playbook. And we're going to go out and recruit serious business people or community people, leaders that want to go and they want to run for office. And then we're going to teach them how to run for office. I mean, I didn't even know how to seek endorsements. I didn't know even where to go to get endorsements. Yeah. To be honest with you, most of these endorsements, what do they really mean? Does the public even know what they mean? I mean
they know that if you are following that list or you're part of that organization, then hey, these are the people that they think they should vote for. It allows them to not do the research.
Right.
So that's what it means to me.
Right. Right. And then you get these, news articles that are like, I did Palm Beach Post. Tomorrow I'm doing Sun Sentinel. I don't know where I'm going to sit, because I don't know where they sit. Right. So I think I do a good interview. but if it doesn't match the agenda,
Right.
the other person gets endorsed. It looks like, oh wow, they got the endorsed by that, but
Yep.
it's agenda driven. It's not from
One
here.
hundred percent.
It's not what we're
One
going to be
hundred
able to
percent.
accomplish, right? So the whole political system is, in my opinion, from the grassroots people that want to make it up the ladder or go to a certain office to make change, it doesn't work. It just,
Yeah.
or on the Republican side, it doesn't work. I don't know about
Well, yeah. Well,
the other
depends on where
side
you
because
are.
I haven't seen their machine
Depends
work.
on where you are. But yeah, but no, even there, it's like they listen. Let me tell you about this kid I ran against. The kid's impressive. He
Yeah.
has a bright political future. But I'll tell you this much: people knew about that 2 years ago, and they have invested into him from 2 years ago.
Right.
Not even for the school board. I mean, the kid could have sat on the school board. Honestly, if I wasn't running and those three more my choices, I would have voted for the kid.
Right.
Now, like I said, other people know it, and they know that he has opportunities and the potential to get to the governor's seat. So
Yep.
they're investing in him from now. So yeah, it's like there's that grassroots. His story is an incredible one. The one from his background and his education and his very goal driven. The kid again is very impressive. And I hope he one day sees this video and knows that I was genuine in me saying I was supportive of his campaign. Had we not been opponents, I mean,
Yeah.
even though he's on the other side of the political line, I'm impressed. But again, he could have started off grassroots and done very well, but the political machine has already sank their hooks into this kid. So, bright future, yes, but they know it.
Well,
So
the
it's
problem
like,
I see the problem is this: if whatever party you run for, right? Because I don't want to make this about Republicans or Democrats, but just a party.
right,
If you're gonna invest your time and your energy into running for an office for a party,
mhm,
okay, and you have a solid base foundation, and not being able to buy the seat. Buying the seat is not that you won an election. It doesn't mean you're going to do good for anybody. It just means that you took the money out of your pocket and you bought yourself a seat. And I
mhm,
refuse to do that. If the
right,
people can't put me in because of who I am, I'm not going to buy myself in because to me, I didn't win anything. I just bought myself a $29,000 a year job. That's not impressive to me,
right.
right? Right. So,
I could apply for that for free.
yeah, right. But the party itself, they need to rally around the candidates
Right.
and help the candidates go from A to Z. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win because they're helping them, right? I mean,
Right.
the voters still make the choice,
Right.
but we need a better system,
Yes.
and we need a better vetted candidate system
Yes.
to make sure that the candidates who are running have a solid platform
Mhm.
and they're going to go somewhere if they get into office. We don't do
Right.
any of that. Anybody can run for office. I mean, if you're 18 years old, basically you can just run for office, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? But what's the training? What's the system behind it? How do you make that person a good candidate or a good elected official?
A political science degree. Or
Yeah,
even
well, I can
a
tell
law
you,
degree.
in my business, I've hired some people with some serious degrees, and I throw
Yeah.
all those degrees out for the people that actually worked in the industry and have experience.
I agree with you, and especially the political science degree. I would throw that out the quickest, but at the end of the day, that's what qualifies people. That or a law degree.
Well,
And a couple of
let's look
trials.
at it like this. Right now, you have a ton of lawyers. Probably most of them are lawyers that are in
Yeah,
office.
yeah.
And look how screwed up the country is.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Right. So, what does all those law degrees mean? What do? They
Means
learn how to
absolutely
fight with each other diplomatically, right?
correct.
And
That's all it is.
and we created this crazy ass system that we live in,
Mhm.
and now we're all trying to get out of it, trying to make it a better place, right?
Mhm.
So, I don't know.
It's like a chess game, and again, me being a chess educator, like one of the things you do as a chess player from my side of the board to try and if I'm not in a winning position, what I'm trying to do is put you in I'm in a compromising position. I'm trying to put you in a bad position. So each person is literally trying to put the other person in a worse position that they currently are in. and all it does is complicate the game. You get what I'm saying? That's what chess is to try and make the game more complicated for the other person, so that way they don't win. Even if you don't win, you just want to make sure they don't win. If you could pull off a draw, but that only benefits you on the one side, but not the entire constituency, the whole people, all the people involved in this game.
Well, let's take the hurricane that just hit Florida, right?
Oh, okay, I can relate.
So, right. So here's what makes me sick about this whole thing. First of all,
Okay.
I'm just a candidate running right now. Okay. I got with some of the other candidates, and we've got 4 drop spots up in Palm Beach. The people are dropping off stuff, and I got 2 in
I
Broward.
saw that.
Right, where we're gathering so much. I mean, we got a ton of supplies that we're going to take over
awesome.
there. Okay,
that's pretty awesome. Yep.
Why isn't our current elected officials all over social media doing this? They actually stand for the state right now. Whether they get elected or not again is something else. But they stand for the state. Why aren't they over there? Why ain't they doing drives? Why ain't they speaking about it? Because every decision they make affects all of us, not just one of us.
And
right?
why are they in all the? Because there's no listen. Like you're speaking on the hurricane as far as like helping people out, which is good. That means you missed it in South Florida. But me being in Volusia, I got it, and we're still feeling the impacts off that. So you're 100% right, Bill. Because I'm in here with other people who are thankfully again, my family. We were high enough in elevation. We got our power back. Within 3 days of losing the power, hot water came back on a few days ago.
And that's a lot of days. 3 days without
3
power.
days. Yeah, no, it was horrible, man. We got 4 kids.
Yeah.
3 days without power is like it could be torturous, but we teach our kids to be survivors, so we just treat it like a camping thing. But it's just it's not comfortable when you're used to living in comfort, or with certain air conditioning. Certain things are just almost essential. But anyways, there's other people in this county that are, they're flooded. Their homes are like still flooded. Like I drove to pick up my daughter from school today, and I looked across the street from her school, and like there's a whole neighborhood still underwater. In Daytona Beach, there's whole cities or communities still underwater. There's kids that have to figure out how they're going to go to school through, or they can't go to school unless they're taking a boat, and you don't see any city officials out there doing anything. You see the community doing things.
That's right.
Community leaders. Community leaders. And I see a couple of police chiefs. But
and here's what makes me mad, right? I see DeSantis is out there. His wife is out there.
Yeah.
Biden came there today. I don't know what I don't know what got accomplished, but all I see on Twitter.
Photo op.
Photo op. I mean, it's always a photo op with everybody, right?
Yeah.
But you see DeSantis. He's in there cooking at the Waffle House for first responders, right? I mean, I'm sure some of that is political theater, but he's a good man, so he's out there doing it. He was in the military, so he understands service. And that's something I like about him, right? He understands service.
Okay.
You got people coming from all over the place trying to help out, right? And then you see all of our representatives that are on the other sides of the fence. All they're doing is attacking DeSantis and the Republicans. This is a time where, again, this is a human issue.
Correct. Politics.
This is not a political issue. Yes. And yet you got the Democrats fighting with, everything that they're doing, what the Republicans are doing, or DeSantis. Let's just use him because I don't know about all the other ones. Right. And I just see it all over Twitter or, stupid ass comments. If you want to make a comment and run your freaking mouth, get your ass over there and help out, and then run your mouth. But don't run it from behind the keyboard like you're some keyboard warrior.
Right.
And this is where I say, when people are electing somebody, look at what the hell you're electing.
Yep.
Right? Now, if that person that you're going to elect was over there, well, he or she has a great human element to them because they care. If they're behind the keyboard attacking the person or the people that are there, what are you doing? You want that person representing you?
Right, exactly. I'd much rather be the person there cooking being ridiculed on social media than the ridiculer on social media. Because what are you doing to help the situation? Yeah. And again, I'm not saying that I'm victim in this hurricane situation because again, our homes fine, our cars are fine, kids are fine. We were inconvenienced. However, I do see a lot of destruction in this county, and I could only imagine because again, it hit us at like tropical storm.
Right.
It was just a lot of rain. I'm talking about floods, and people have lost homes and stuff. I've seen people crying on the news in New Smyrna and Daytona Beach and DeLand, Sanford, all these things. Can you
Yeah.
imagine what happens in Fort Myers? There's like destruction.
It's going to take years to build those places up. So now you got displaced people, families, right?
Yeah.
Where are they going to go? South, north?
Can they even get there? Because I mean,
Yeah,
roads are closed.
right? The roads. And you got alligators
Bridges are
floating in the
destroyed.
streets. I've seen on
Yeah.
the news. You don't even want to go out and walk around because you might get bit by an alligator or a snake.
I mean,
floating
I
down your
laugh, but I
street.
mean, it's a reality. Yeah,
It is. It's terrible.
We had some people hit, and then there's power line issues. There's people here that were electrocuted. Two workers in New Smyrna that got electrocuted as they're trying to get people's powers back on. So
Well, we got we should give some kudos to the linemen that went out there,
100%.
right?
That's like they're literally risking their lives to bring us back our conveniences of life.
Yep, that's without them, I know like every month we probably bitch and we pay our FP&L bill or whatever, but without those people,
Yep.
these there'd be a lot of people hurting right now. So
Listen,
I respect them for going out there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they line up before the storm, like they, and again, it's like being in the military because they have to leave. Some of them live, great distances away from, disaster sites and things like that. And some are people coming from out of state, so they're leaving their families for extended periods of time. And again, there's two. I'm not sure if there's any reports anywhere else of any injuries or deaths from these people that are working, but there's two in New Smyrna that I know that again, one died, the other person's injured. Um, he didn't think going to work was going to be it for him, So again, you're right, Bill. We got to appreciate what those guys do. Let's not take it. We don't take anyone's service, a job that provides a service. We should never take for granted. But definitely those men, because again, destruction happens, and the one thing we need back on is power, so that we can all have the resources or access to the resources to help us clean up and get back to normalcy after such an event.
Yeah.
As a storm, because it was. I mean, again, we got the back end of it, and all it was for us was rain, some wind. But I mean, as I'm talking to you now, I'm looking at my TV in the background. I'm looking at bridges destroyed in certain places.
Yeah, I seen that one bridge that was a pretty good size bridge that connected. I forgot which one it was, but
there was a Sanibel Island one, and there's some other ones out west. I mean, like these people can't leave; they can't go anywhere. The bridges that took them to and from an island or from a location that required bridge access is now destroyed.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is, man. So
and now we got the other issue, right, with property insurance is going to go through the roof.
and
you're going to have these companies going bankrupt, dropping companies, people in Florida coverages.
Yeah.
So again, now this is something that our legislation, our newly elected officials, if they get in, and our current officials are going to have to really deal with, because the choices for insurance are going to get real slim. And Citizens is going to carry the brunt of it. And they're not going to have enough reserve funds to handle stuff like this. So, I mean, these are all real topics. And these are things that, like, instead of our current legislators that are bashing DeSantis over there, they should be talking about, here's a roadmap to how we're going to help Florida. Right. And this is where I shake my head, like, quit being a politician for 5 minutes and let's get down to business, or how we're going to help the state and the people in the state after a disaster. We got to worry about insurance now. We got to worry about cleaning up that part of the state and bringing back people's lives.
Right.
Rebuilding that side of the state. And what are the plans? Start talking about plans. Start talking about actually accomplishing something, and letting people feel that we have it under control, and stop bullshitting about. I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse on our show. That's the reality.
That passion, Bill.
Stop talking about things that don't matter to people at this moment. Right?
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. again, one of the things, because again, I watch a good amount of the media, especially throughout the storm, um, and again, a lot of it's accurate because I'm seeing it and I'm experiencing it, and it's devastating to people. Like I saw a grown man cry on the news this morning. Like this man's, they even said the age. He's 77. His wife is 67. They did not picture having to do this or rebuild their home in their retirement, having lost everything. And the news person asked them, "What are they going to?" They're like, "We're just going to try and rebuild." When he said those words, "We're just going to try and rebuild," the man broke down and cried right there on air. It was like the sweetest story.
You know what's sad about this now? And here's another thing that's going to happen. You got families that are devastated, displaced, lost everything. So now we get into other issues like mental health.
Okay.
Right? What are we doing for them? What are we doing for these people knowing that they're going to need counseling? They're going to need to seek therapy. You could have some suicides out of this because people get so depressed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And again, here are the things our politicians should be focused on. Right? It's community. How do we take care of our people? Not focused on any of it. They're focused on political theater. They're focused on BS. Yep. They're trying to win a point about, we'll bring up DeSantis with the Martha Vineyard thing, right? He flew them from Texas to Martha's Vineyard to prove a point to them that
about immigration and
we're gonna put them among the wealthiest
sanctuary cities.
Cities, right.
Which that in itself is a whole interesting story.
To me, if you look at it for surface value, it's pretty funny, right? Because you got all these hoity-toity people, and all of a sudden now they're in with us people, right? We're like the general population, and the hoity-toity people are now in the same streets as we are, which they can't stand, right? Because we're not their class. So that part is funny. But when you get down to it, what it did create now is media crap. That DeSantis, you spent this much money, we could have used it for the hurricane relief, right? Or whatever they want to say about it. So again, it's a bold cavalier move, funny on the surface because you get to see how those other people act, and then you hear about the stupid comments like Pelosi says, well, that the Latinos and she basically just called out the Spanish, right, and said they belong in the fields in Florida picking the crops because the farmers need them. I mean, they make no sense, right?
These people are so racist. Blatantly racist.
You talk about racist, right? Here's another thing.
Like how racist can they? I think they just have a competition. Like how many racist comments can we get out there before they realize we're racist? Like
to me, in my eyes, and I think this is pretty much across the board of, I would say, people in our world, the world we live in, right?
Right.
We really don't see color. We don't see race. We all have jobs where we work with every race, color, religion, right? We go to work every day. We don't play that. You have an HR department that handles, disputes or whatever they want to call it now, with all the crap that they try to bring in to separate
workplace
us.
Discrepancies.
Right. all the stuff they're trying to, distract us with. Right.
Right.
But the media builds these stories so big that they actually divide the country, and then they blame the representatives or the politicians for dividing the country. But the problem is those certain representatives or politicians jump on that train, and they keep that train down the tracks. When you know what, all that to me is BS because I got to worry about how I'm going to pay my bills, put my kids through college, make sure my kids have a safe education, make sure my kids are mentally stable. Make sure that, generations from now, we have a country, right? All that's to me, to me and you, like I go to the grocery store. I don't want to pay $100 for like 4 items, right? I don't want my property insurance going through the roof, right? That, to me and you, that matters. And people like me and you get elected in office, we're going to do something about what matters to us.
100%.
But these other people jump on these trains, and then they get groups of people that support that because they all feel like they're the target, right? And then they
Right.
take this into mainstream media and they create distractions that at the end of the day, every one of those people still need to pay their bills. The politicians, the elitist part of that, aren't worried about how they're going to make their bills, aren't going to worry about what the groceries cost or the gas costs or what health insurance costs because they don't have those worries.
No.
But they tie up all these people that do have these worries, flip their minds around, and then all of a sudden they're down these tracks and they're creating all this crap that we don't even need to talk about.
Yeah, well,
Things that government shouldn't even be involved in. Less government. We want less government involvement, and we want to have a secure, safe life.
Yeah, no, listen, I want less government in my politics. And that's my new thing because again, I am the unpolitician. I just want less government in my politics. I want my politics to be about what, like you said, things that matter. And there's people out here liking it. Let me see. Lance Bart likes our video. Shout out to Lance Bart. Rob Starr likes our video. Shout out to Rob Starr. By the way, Lance Bart. Those are my guys. But again, these are things that like truly matter to people. And again, my wife and I, we have 4 kids, and we make regular, weekly, sometimes twice a week trips to the grocery store. And
how does that feel now? Right?
I mean, the good thing is my wife's a tremendously awesome couponer. So it's kind of fun.
We might have to bring that on the show and do a small clip on how to save money.
Listen, I would love to have my wife on there and explain how she does it. She loves
that would be awesome because you know what? That brings value to people.
Oh yeah, dude. We plan on doing some stuff like this. Listen, my wife loves. She's like the art of the deal. She loves a deal. Like she doesn't buy anything that's not on. If you don't have a deal, it's not for us.
I love it. I love it.
So she gets up, early on Sundays, and she gets up super early. We've got 4 kids, so we're already up early managing life, and she's great at managing that. But on top of that, she tackles it super early. She gets up and she coupons and she looks for deals and Ibotta's and combinations of things. And and again, we live in a world now where we have to do that. It's one of those things where it's fun for her to do, but now it's like it's essential because if we don't, it's going to cost us a lot of money for food. Again, 4 kids. And they're growing. My oldest daughter, I mean, every time she walks out of her room, stuff goes missing from the fridge. Like,
you ever notice when like gas prices are up right now, right?
Right.
You ever notice it seems like the gas goes quicker in your car than it did before when the price was lower?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like they put some additive chemical inside your damn gas, right? That burns it faster, so you're back at the pump in 2 days, where before it was like 4 days.
You're so right. I was in the car today thinking just that same thing because my wife and I share. Well, I have my own vehicle, but we have a family vehicle. It's just her car because it's got space and whatnot. But I'm like, didn't we just put gas in this thing the other day? Like, how is it at half a tank?
Yep.
She only goes to work like there and back, and that's it.
Listen, I got an electric car, right?
Uh-huh.
And I enjoy like coming home and just plugging that thing in. But the problem with it is if I have a long day on the road, I'm like out of power. I don't even know where the hell to go.
Wow.
Right. And just so let's talk about that. Now you have this hurricane devastation, right? Biden wants the whole world to be on electric cars by 2035. What would they do in an area like that with electric cars? You can't charge your car.
Listen,
where do you go?
You would go nowhere. Like that's a very valid point. Like because no one has power. I'm talking about businesses and residences. Right. No one has power. So how am I going to go? You can't. And then here's another thing. You want to go to the charging station. Well, try driving through a flood to go through a charging station.
Yep.
Like gas stations are a lot closer. There's more of those around, like if you're trying to be more accessible to things. And again, you're gonna need gas for your generator. You're gonna need gas for all kinds of things. So to get everything to go electric just doesn't make any sense.
That makes sense.
You're actually doing more damage, and that's another subject too. Like some people don't know that you're actually damaging the earth more to get like battery cells for electric powered vehicle versus actually just drilling for oil to produce gas. Like you want to be eco-friendly, but you're killing the earth at like triple the rate to try and get an electric vehicle, which is ineffective in these circumstances when natural disasters hit. So, I mean,
they'll just blame it on. They'll blame it on like global warming or something.
Yeah. The funniest thing, I saw a photo on Facebook of a guy driving an electric vehicle to get gas for his generator.
Yeah.
I was like, the irony of it all, man. Like, it's like, how much of this stuff? How much? Like, again, the Nancy Pelosi comments you mentioned earlier. Like, how many times can they say racist stuff before they figure out they're racist? How many times can they just tell you that we're gonna just make stuff up so we can get your votes before you realize that we made stuff up to get your votes? Um, it's unbelievable. It's like they don't respect their constituents. It's a game to a lot
They
of
don't
these
respect,
politicians.
and that's why I really believe that not all politicians are bad. There are some good ones in there, you know, and I don't know who they are, but there are some good ones in there.
There are
But
some, I know who some of them are. I don't know because if I list some of them, then the rest might feel some type of way. So I don't know
yeah, that's why
if
I won't listen. I'm not just gonna say I don't know who they are just to be like general, but there are some, and there are some
yeah,
on both sides of the line.
there's definitely some on
But
both sides of the aisle. I would agree with you on that.
the problem is if we don't get our voters out to acknowledge who's running, whether they're
Mhm.
new, and tell you what, you put a new candidate in office, you're going to get work out of that person because they're going to try to prove themselves that they belong to be there.
Well, they
You
want that
keep the
job.
same person, right? You keep the same person in office,
They get
and
comfortable.
they're too comfortable,
Yeah, they
right?
got
And then
comfortable.
and they form their little packs of friends and inside of there, and then they all move the same way,
Right.
right? The new person's got to go is going to go in there, and they're going to go in there with hopefully, right, the right ideas, the right
Right.
mindset. They're going to talk to their constituents. Because I'll tell you what, before I ran for state senate, um, I didn't even know we had state senators,
Really.
and I never met one.
Very good point.
Right?
I
Why?
met a few.
But why? Why? Like me, if I win this thing, you're
Mhm.
going to see me in the community everywhere, holding town halls and meeting with people, wanting to know what's bothering them. And here's things that I'm looking at writing legislation for. How does
Right.
this affect you, and how do you feel about it? Right?
So now, to your point, Bill, and it's interesting because again, before I got involved in the politics, local politics, give or take 5, 6 years ago, because I met the mayor and him and I became friends. So I started to find out what a mayor, what does he do, what does a commissioner do, and then branches from there led to me meeting state representatives and state senators. Right. So I met a couple newly elected ones, and I was very impressed because they're very visible. They're very tangible. You say they'll work for you. They want to keep the job, so they'll do the things, especially if they're genuine about it and they're incompromisable. That good. But then you meet some other ones who are like, yeah. Here's my card. Give me a call. Drop me an email or whatever have you. And you give them a call and drop an email, and then you give another call and drop another email, and send another email and drop some more calls. And the person that's fielding all those calls is their aide.
Yeah.
You'll have a better relationship with their aide, who probably should have been the state senator, because you're having so much more communication with them, and they field all the calls.
Oh yeah.
And they're like,
Or
yeah,
you
we're
get
getting the
or you
messages.
get the automatic email responses.
Yes,
My office has received it, and then like
yes,
5 days later, they have it another automated thing saying, "We are reviewing your request." Well, you don't even know what my request was. What are you reviewing? I mean, I get that all the time.
exactly.
But you're right. I
It's
mean, part of this job, in my opinion, it's like being a CEO of a company. Is to
right,
be. You have CEOs that are very present and visible in their company, and
right,
they look to make sure that their company is doing its job, right? Which means taking care of the employees, not just the customers.
right,
And
right,
then you have the ones that hide behind doors, and then they have a line of people in front of them, and then you never get to meet the CEO, and he's so out of touch with the company that it doesn't even matter what
right,
all they're worried about is the bottom line. They're not worried
right,
about the tangible of the employee is really where the bottom line starts.
right.
So it's no different than if you're going to be a senator, a House representative, president. I mean, look at Trump. As much as people could say whatever they want about the man, he's out in public and he's out in people's faces, and he's
Yeah,
with the
very
people,
regularly. I
right?
mean, that's one of the things he does very well.
Yeah,
Probably the thing he does the best is getting in
yeah,
front of people.
right. And and I'm not going to jump on his bandwagon or not jump on it, but just saying, as far as people, you have people that are leaders, and you have people that
Yes.
like to be involved in the community, and you know, these are people that should be in office because
Yeah, 100%.
you know that eventually, if you're a person that likes to be in a community and going to be part of the community, you're going to have to deal with the blowback because you're
Correct.
visible.
Correct.
right? The other ones that only come out during campaign season and take photo ops everywhere, or whatever they do for 3 months.
Right.
If that was me and they came to my business, I'd be like, where the hell you been for like 2 years?
Matter of fact, that's another thing too, Bill, that you and I can both agree we learned in this, campaigning process is like how many of these social media posts are so fake. Like I spent a lot of time, of my campaign. I'm still working and very, very limited amounts of work because I had to give up a good amount of my job time to be able to. So I sacrificed pretty much my job. And long
Right.
story short, the times that I was able to work were events that I was like, I'm just going to do it because these things matter to the community.
Yep.
And it's funny enough, like you go to these events again because they're community events, and I see all these other candidates there, handing out flyers and taking photos, pretending to do this and pretending to do that. And and then they see me, they're like, "Hey Mo, why aren't you campaigning?" Because I'm doing work for the community. Like that's my campaign. It's like I've been doing this. Like I want to be again. I love and I love hate this term community leader because like it took a while for me to really appreciate being called a community leader or a community activist because all it was somebody that just you see a kid that needs help or encouragement or mentorship or just someone to talk to, do it. It wasn't like I did it for any particular reason, but over time that just became who I was and who I was known as. So this is something I did genuinely in my community. So I just couldn't stop doing it because now I'm up for election.
Well,
Go ahead.
You're because you're a human. You have heart, you have emotion, and you have feelings.
Well,
right?
yeah.
But there's a lot of these politicians that aren't.
No, well,
They're cold as ice. They're
Yeah.
they're in it to win it for them,
Mhm.
right? They can say they love you over here, and then the knife will go in your back as soon as they walk away, and they're like, "Oh, what happened to that person? He was so nice," right?
Right. Yes.
So, it's like, and you're doing you. This
Right.
is you, whether you're running or not. It's just like, in my business when I take somebody out to dinner,
Mhm.
right? Or where we go out with clients and I have a sales rep with me or whatever, and the guy would introduce me as his boss, or the first thing I tell him is I'm not your boss, we're coworkers. And then after dinner, I'll pull, when we're together, I'll say, listen, you never introduced me as that. I am not a boss of anything. We all work together. Our responsibilities are just different. My responsibility is to the company as a whole. Your responsibility is also to a company as a whole, because when you're selling, you're making payroll,
Right.
right? You're helping me take that money and budget it to pay bills and pay
Right.
the company. So we
Right.
all are equal. Title means nothing except responsibility. That's all it lies to with me.
Right.
And I tell it to everybody. I mean, this is the problem with politicians again. They think they're here and we're all here.
Right.
No, we're here,
You got
right?
exactly. And
You
you got to
don't
learn
put
how
your
to
clothes
lead
on any
from here.
different than I do. You don't eat
Right.
your food any different than me. All you know how to do is steal better than me. Other than that, you don't know how to do anything better than me.
Right.
So
No, like in leading from here, it's interesting because you get so much done. Like and this is to go. I mean, I don't want to stay on my campaign too much, but I mean, I gotta say this real quick while I'm on air. I appreciate every single vote that I got because again, those people didn't know me beyond what it was I was running for, and they didn't have much to go on based on because this is all I really had the campaign with was my website that basically gave you a full detailed description of who I was and what I've done and what I intend to do. And those people made a decision based on that information, and a lot of them took the time to actually reach out to me, ask me questions, um, and ask me some really tough questions. And I know I lost a lot of voters with some of those honest answers, but it makes me appreciate the votes I did get because those people, there's something about what I said that they're like, this is my guy. And I was proud to be a representative of their votes. Unfortunately, we didn't pull off the victory, but integrity matters, and this is something that I want to build not only my future success on, but the show success that we do, and what I want to convey to everyone from the show to future politicians. Like integrity matters, and you could probably do much better as a politician with some integrity versus just getting involved in being corrupt politics. Like, how hard is it to do the job?
Well, you will absolutely be a better politician for your constituents with integrity. Now,
Well, yeah.
when you go into office and the swamp tries to swallow you, you have to
There's that,
maintain your integrity.
that swamp man.
But it may make it hard for you to do your job. It may make
Yeah,
it hard for you to get the grade in your book that is published, right?
right.
But you still have to lead with integrity because at the
That
end of the
swamp.
day, your name is all we got. It's the only thing we go to the grave with is our name. Everything else gone. But our
Right,
name is on that tombstone forever. So whatever we did, your name is never going to leave you.
man.
So, but when you talk about your campaign, when we used to speak at the same events or whatever,
Yeah,
you could see when you're talking that you're talking from the heart, and you legitimately care.
right.
And I've seen politicians, and that are polished politicians, and I would hold my pockets, and these are people on both sides of the table, not just.
Yep.
I hold my pockets when I listen to them talk because to me, they look like one of those southern preachers that are like, send your money to the Lord and here's my address. Right.
Right.
And it's, again, in order to make change in this country, we need people like you. I'll say me because I like me, right? I'm me.
I
But
agree because again,
we,
I
we
saw you
need
speak in the same events.
we need people that really care. And we need
Right.
people that are going to be present in our jobs, not lost in a swamp, trying to hold on to everybody else's boat so that we're popular with the swamp.
Right.
And if we get enough of people like us in office, well, the swamp will eventually drain because we're all going to be there for the right reasons.
Right.
But if we don't put the right people in office and we keep voting for the same crap, and we keep complaining about the same crap, and we keep voting for the same crap, well, then you know
Right.
what? Your swamp just gets bigger and deeper and deeper. And good luck,
Bro.
America, because
Yep.
you're putting these idiots in office, and then you want to bitch about the job they're doing. You want to
Yeah. No.
complain about the gas. You want to complain about mandates. You want to complain that you got fired about COVID and vaccinations. I mean, people, honestly, I believe people really know that they're making bad decisions, but in
100%.
their mind, they just can't wrap themselves around not voting for either the party or maybe it won't be that bad.
It's an
Well, guess what?
accountability thing.
It can be that bad. And you
Yeah.
better quit voting for the party and start researching the candidate because maybe the candidate on the other side of the party is going to do what you want them to do. Or maybe they're going to resonate with the needs that your family has or your family's future has. But, until we can educate enough people, until we can get enough people to see that there's more than a R or D next to the name,
Yep.
we're going to sit in the same boat and have the same conversations. We'll see Pelosi talking about sending migrants to work on farms. Right? We'll see Biden speak about America in one word that he sums it up. That is like he was on a trail with Ho Chi Minh going down something. I don't know what he was doing. I mean,
Some squirrel trail, not even a bunny trail. He's like on squirrel trails.
yeah, I mean, and again, you know what? I don't even, if you want to just take Biden for really real quick, I don't even blame Biden. I mean, the man obviously has dementia. It's a serious issue, right? Whoever put him in office and thought it was a good idea to put him there are the ones we should blame,
Yep.
right? Because at the end of the day, again, he's still a human. It was a bad choice by whoever put him as the front for the Democratic Party. And again, we probably had nobody that was worthwhile, and he was the best choice. I don't know,
Listen,
but
it's it goes back down to the political science thing that I said throughout my campaign trail. These people have numbers. There's polls, there's statistics, there's voter trends, there's all kinds of data that these people can pretty much put into a computer system, and it computes and it gives you percentages of potential to win based on who you are and
yeah.
what you need to change in order to gain votes from certain groups or certain people or whatever have you. It's all politically scientific, statistical, and you can calculate it. So they knew the best option, the only option to beat Donald Trump in an election was was Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Even if the other candidate was probably a better candidate, which she wasn't. But her being the front runner on the ticket would be, and then here's another option. If you combine the two, then this one could make it across the finish line.
Right. The one that they said was black, but she's really Indian. Right.
Listen, she cares. Oh, there's so many different things.
But again, you know what? It doesn't even matter what she is, right? And it's a woman is as capable as a man of doing this job. But it's the way they brought it together because they wanted to win the vote because they thought they were playing the people.
Well, I mean,
and that's what makes me mad.
Here's the thing: you have two people who, throughout, like, I don't even know how long they were campaigning against each other, saying the most negative things possible about each other, calling him this, calling her that, saying I'm better qualified at this and better qualified at that. And you owe me an apology, Joe, from when I was that little girl that you discouraged from doing this, to being, oh, Joe Biden's the best president ever. And he's, the number. Oh, come on. You went from being public enemy number one to being his number one supporter. Like, that's the political science. That's the machine that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Bill.
It's WWE. It's WWE, right? They're body slamming each other. Then the next thing you know, they're forming an alliance to beat somebody else. It's theater.
It's smoke and mirrors. It's the best show on earth. It's like, and then here's the thing about it. This is how short. This is why they do things to dumb down your thinking capacity, because they don't want you thinking about these things too long, because you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
These people don't realize that they ever were running against each other. People have forgotten about that. They forgot that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were neck and neck. I hate you, Joe. I hate you too, Kamala, because they take a couple of photos together now, shaking hands and kissing babies together. They completely forget about that part. And it's going to be like this. How many times have we seen this in politics? I mean, Charlie Crist and what's his name goes after each other. What's her name? Nikki Fried. And at the end, she's like, well, I'm going to support him throughout this whole campaign because it's important that the party wins.
Listen, you want to talk about Crist? And here's how fun. This is how messed up our political system is, right?
Uh-huh.
When he was governor, most of the voters that are here in Florida now are of age that don't remember him as governor. And if you look back at his track record as governor here, you would probably be horrified that this man ran this state at one time.
Yeah.
But now he's running. He probably is within reach. I don't think he'll beat DeSantis, but he's definitely.
There's a good deficit. His polls numbers, who knows? But the polls show that he'll lose.
Yeah, he'll lose, but he'll get enough votes from the liberal side or that side.
Absolutely.
But if those, again, talking about researching your candidate, if you look at what he did for the state of Florida, you would run, and there'd be nobody voting for him. It'd be DeSantis all the way.
100%. I live there.
People don't research, and he talks about his commercials at the gas pump, and I'll reduce gas prices. I'll take this one on when DeSantis won't. You ain't gonna do shit. Don't come at us with all your nonsense, right? But again, it comes down to research. You need to research the people and put the best people in the position.
Here's the thing. Here's the smoke and mirrors again. This is what people need to realize. And again, the polls show that he's going to lose and DeSantis is going to win by a huge gap. The polls aren't 100% every time, but they're a good indicator. So anyway, people don't realize that former Governor Charlie Crist is former Republican Governor Charlie Crist.
Yeah. He flops, man. He's a flip-flopper.
Yeah, and if you realize people flip-flop for party or for political gain, like, how do you support that now? Again, people have short attention span.
I even put in a post somewhere with somebody always said something about Chris, and I don't know if I'm arguing with the guy or not, or I said the person said to me, how great Chris is going to be because he's a Democrat. I said, really? Because at one point, if you researched the man, he was a Republican and he wasn't that good. So because he changed to a D, he got smart overnight. Now all of a sudden he's a great candidate, right? And this is unfortunately this is the mindset of people. Well, he's a D now, so he's got to be good. No.
Listen, people have, again, back to my point about the short attention span. Like, if you think about it, no one remembers he was a former Republican governor, Charlie Crist. He wasn't like long-time Republican. You know what I mean? Like, lifelong Republican.
Yeah.
Pro-life Republican. Like, all of a sudden, abortions.
DeSantis is going to squash him like an ant.
As he should.
He's going to have enough voters to waste our time, right?
And that's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to.
Unfortunately.
And what it does, I think what the strategy here from the Democratic Party is just to keep chipping away, keep highlighting things that Republicans don't know how to defend or are in a poor position to defend.
Well, the Democratic Party is experts at spinning stories.
Yes,
they are experts, right? And again, I'm not picking on all Democrats because they're not all bad, right? But you look at the "Don't Say Gay" bill. That's not really anything about "Don't Say Gay." They spun that whole thing to get the gay crowd, right? That crowd of people, lesbians and homosexuals, and all that, on board with them, right? Has nothing to do with that.
I love how now, and what's interesting is like somewhere how along the line they combined the LGBTQ with the BLM thing. So it's like if you're black, you've got to now be pro LGBTQ, or else you're not really black, or you're not really a Democrat, or you got to be a Democrat to cover all these things. It's like there's so many different requirements.
Where does this stuff even have a right or a play in politics?
Listen again.
You're a person. You want to be gay. That's fine. Why is that a political issue?
It shouldn't be.
You to me, if you're gay, you're transgender, you're whatever you are, that's fine. Be that person. Live your life. Be happy. If you're happy with your choices, I'm happy with your choices. I don't need you in my politics because, again, now we're not running the state. We're not handling the things that even the gay and the lesbians and the transgenders need, which is money, homes, jobs, economy, right?
Low taxes, less government in their politics.
Right. Why bring those issues up and then because so much distraction and noise about them that we have to write legislation for things that really
need not to be legislated.
I mean, listen,
again,
I'm sure you know people
it gets votes.
Yeah, I'm sure you know people that are gay. I know people that are gay, and people that work for me are I don't care.
Got them in the family.
Yeah, I don't care. I do too. I don't care. They're people.
I've never looked at them funny at Thanksgiving. I don't say sit on that side of the table where it's I don't do nothing. So to bring it up, and most of my gay relatives or gay friends or whatever, they know how I feel about these things, and they don't disagree with me or whatever have you. So it's again, it's your right. It's a free country. Be whatever you want. Why are these things being brought up in legislation? Why is this like you said? Why is it a political thing about your sexuality?
It shouldn't be. It doesn't.
Why is it something that's even brought up in school board? I posted a thing earlier today, and it was I can't remember what it was, but it's the worst grammar I ever saw. And I was like, this is the issue with the school board. Nothing to do with LGBTQ policies. No one cares about. I'm gonna say it like that. It sounds bad. No one pays attention to whether a child is gay or not. No one does. I'm not gonna send my kid to school and tell him to look at all the gay kids and stay far away from them. You can't. So that's not an issue. It's not an issue at all. What is an issue is kids can't read. But we completely, again, some people can't.
We ignore that.
Yes, exactly. So, but again, if I've learned this, it's the same thing like the media. If it's not sexy, it won't sell. So they got to make it provocative enough to be able to sell you on voting for them. So they take these issues that honestly shouldn't even be brought up, but because it what's it called? It resonates well. It like triggers something in you, a response. Like Lynn said in the past, it's not about what they can get you to vote for, it's what they can get you to vote against. So they can get you, riled up on these issues and say, listen, that candidate supports the thing that you're against. Then they'll get your vote. So I mean, at the end of the day, again, we need to stop playing politics and stop being, toying with people and using the things that they need to, sustain livability.
The politicians and the media are dividing this country.
Correct. 100%.
Right? It's not the issues that divide the country. It's people that are bringing the issues into places they shouldn't be, because nobody cares until you start making it something that somebody cares about. And then you form pockets of people that bandwagon on this stuff. And then it becomes a huge social issue.
Right.
It's terrible. And again, it's choosing the right politicians, putting the right people in office. Because if you're gay, cross-dressed, transgender, I mean, all these things, it doesn't mean you're not capable of holding a high-powered job. It does not mean you're not capable of doing anything. It just means that you have a specific belief. It's your belief system.
That's it.
Right?
Correct.
And that belief
in this
system
country,
has nothing
you have
to do
the
with
right
politics.
to have that choice.
Right. There's nothing to do with
It's already
politics.
established. There's no more legislation. You have the right to live whatever way you want this country.
Right.
So I don't know why we're bringing this up.
And the one, I don't either, but the ones that I know that are mad about all these things that they keep bringing up in the media. But they're like making a show out of us, they tell me.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and you're right. And it's the same thing again if you're black and you realize what they're doing with the black community. Again, I don't like calling it the black community, we're just people. But again, the fact is they divide us and call us a community and segregate us to the ghetto and saying and making it seem as though it's impossible for us to live in any other environment. They use us to kind of again victimize us and make us feel, there's a camaraderie in this victimization process, and they can again trigger something or have something that resonates and get you to vote based on an emotion. So, just like the gays.
That's a good word, emotion.
The emotion, just like the gays who are offended by this, and I'm one of those people that's offended by this as a black person. It's just it's offensive. Why do you think that I have to resonate with these things for you to have a conversation with me? Why is it that you think I live in this kind of environment? Why do you think I live this kind of lifestyle? Why do you think that my children have to be a certain type of way, or the way that I'm not predispositioned to anything just because I was born black? They're not predispositioned to anything just because they were born gay. It's live your life. It's America.
At the end of the day, we're all people. We all have the same basic needs.
Right.
And we all have to live the same life. The private lives are different, but the path of life is the same. We all wake up, we all go to work, we all pay our bills, we all pay taxes, and we all die.
And we all want to provide for our
We don't do it any different than anybody else.
We want an American, if I want a home, I want my kids, I want a family, I want a dog, I want a cat maybe. I want you to stay off my property unless I invite you over, and vice versa. I want to do a couple of community events here and there and come out in there and whatever. They've overcomplicated this whole American lifestyle and turned it into something completely what it's not. So, but I'll tell you this much, Bill, we have for the second week gone over time. So they're getting bonus footage or bonus show over here. But good news to all our viewers. Hopefully Bill is back slowing down, taking a little break from the campaign, and he'll be back hopefully next week, Wednesday, when our other co-host, Lynn Sue, will be back, fresh from her vacation. Who goes on a cruise in a hurricane? But anyway.
She wanted to feel the effects of the ocean.
If the boats are rocking, don't come and knock on.
Yeah, something like that. I'll choose that vacation any day.
Listen, like I said to her while she had some internet, man, we should do a Political Pulse Live once the show starts getting some momentum. Pretty sure we'll go on vacation and find some people with some very interesting opinions. I look forward to those episodes. So,
yeah.
But no, listen, it's a good show as always here on the Political Pulse tonight with Bill and Mo. Bill, the senator, Mo, the unpolitician. Well, hopefully,
Let's hope that senator word sticks. We're
listen,
trying.
I'm saying it now, man. I'm getting used to it. So I'm already listen. You already are senator, one way or the other. So but yeah, listen tonight, folks. That is our show. We kept it kind of loose tonight. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Bill, anything you want to say on the way out? Any final thoughts?
No, I mean the real final thought for me would be, since we spoke a lot about politicians tonight, is it's how important it is for you to vote. Your vote does matter, and really research the candidates. And please, when you're researching them, look at where they get their money from. It's a big deal. It's a much bigger deal than you think it is, because if you want things to change and you want to have people in office that are actually going to work for you as the people, if their donor role is the people, you got a much better chance of that politician working for you than if that donor role consists of all these corporations, because there is absolutely no way your say matters if that corporation has a different view.
Yep.
So just be smart, and don't, whether you vote D or R, it's about the best candidate. Excuse me, the best candidate that resonates with you, your needs, your family's needs. But just don't stick party line. Really look at these candidates and find out, because you might be surprised that you think you're really voting the right way, but when you find out what they stand for behind the messaging they put out there, which you'll find when you see the donor list, it may not be the person you want representing you. So that's all I have to say.
True
I
words have
appreciate
never
the
been
show
spoken.
tonight. It was a good show. It was fun.
Hey, listen, it's always a good show, man. The more we do this, the more fun it will be. Like, and I know on different platforms people are seeing us. So shout out to all the people that gave us little likes and stuff from my campaign page. And everyone who's on YouTube or Bill's page, Lynn's page, or even the Political Pulse Live page. Thanks for watching. We'll have this and more videos posted up. We look forward to seeing you guys next week, same time, same place. Hopefully hurricane free for me. So, all right, Bill, whenever you're ready to wrap it up, we're out.
All right. We'll talk again. We'll see you next week, everyone. Peace out.